everybody, welcome back to the channel that brings you the truth about your Second Amendment rights. Guns and Gadgets, your premier source for Second Amendment news. And I've got a bill for you today that's sure to fire up the pro-gun crowd and make the anti-gunners cry. It already is. It's called the FIRE Act, and yes, it's exactly what it sounds like, a legislative flamethrower aimed at burning down unconstitutional magazine bans once and for all. Before we dive in, a huge thanks to today's sponsor, Attorneys on Retainer. If you've ever been targeted by the government simply for exercising your Second Amendment rights, then you know that you'll want someone like AOR in your corner. If you carry a firearm for self-defense, you need a legal team that actually understands your rights. AOR is the only law firm in America that specializes in self-defense cases. That's all they do. If you can reasonably and in good faith assert that you acted in self-defense of yourself or others, they will cover you, period, point blank. They've got your back, from red flag orders to self-defense claims in every single state. Plus, if you join now, you can lock in your price until 2030. This is big because they've added a bunch of additional benefits and those cost money, so prices will naturally be going up. And learn more at the link down below and save $50 off your individual plan sign-up fee or $25 off your family plan sign-up fee. It's going to be a limited time on that, but you can only get it by using code GNG at the link down below. AOR is ready to fight for your rights when others won't. Let that sink in. All right, the Freedom from Improper Regulation and Enforcement Act, aka the FIRE Act, was just introduced by Congressman Tony Wyde from Wisconsin. Now, this bill is a direct response to the patchwork of anti-gun magazine restrictions that make criminals out of law-abiding citizens for simply crossing fake dotted lines on a map with standard capacity magazines. It does something we've all been screaming for. It would ban any federal, state, or local government, that's cops, law enforcement, etc., from restricting magazine capacity, period. That means no more 10-round limits in places like California, New York, Massachusetts, or New Jersey. But the same mags that you use at home, you can take them across state lines without worrying about becoming a felon. And right now, there's no uniformity. One state says 10 rounds, another says 15. Some cities have bans even tougher than the state laws. It's just not confusing, it's dangerous. Imagine being a concealed carrier driving across state lines and not knowing if your everyday carry mag is suddenly illegal in the next county. Well, it actually happens. Now, supporters of the bill call this out for what it is. This is legal entrapment. Now, Representative Tom Tiffany, one of the original co-sponsors, nailed it when he said, quote, "This bill protects law-abiding gun owners and prevents governments and future administrations from infringing on Second Amendment rights," end quote. And he's absolutely right. Now, this bill would enshrine your self-defense right, kind of like the Constitution says, and end the confusion about what kind of magazine you can legally own or carry. Now, here's the part the mainstream media won't talk about. Standard capacity magazines are the industry standards. According to the National Shooting Sports Foundation, out of 973 million detachable magazines manufactured between 1990 and 2021, over 718 million held more than 10 rounds. That includes the decade during the Clinton-era so-called assault weapons ban. Let that sink in. 3/4 of all detachable magazines in circulation are over 10 rounds. You're not just talking about high-capacity magazines. You're talking about normal ones. And anti-gun politicians want to ban what's already in hundreds of millions of homes. Good luck. This bill isn't just a one-man show. It's backed by heavy hitters in the gun rights world, Gun Owners of America, the NRA, the NSSF, and even the Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation. My buddy Aiden Johnston over at Gun Owners of America, he's the Director of Federal Affairs, he said, quote, "Firearm magazine bans do not work and fly in the face of the Second Amendment's unqualified command, shall not be infringed. We thank Representative Wyde for introducing the Freedom from Improper Regulation and Enforcement Act, or FIRE Act, to prevent states, local governments, and future presidential administrations from banning standard capacity magazines, or so-called high-capacity magazines. This bill is a common-sense solution to ensure gun owners are not criminalized for owning a mere firearm accessory. We urge Congress to quickly send the FIRE Act to President Trump's desk." John Comerford, who's the head of the NRA ILA, said, quote, "The Supreme Court has ruled that arms that are in common use cannot be banned. Because Americans lawfully own hundreds of millions of magazines that hold over 10 rounds, bans on such magazines violate the Second Amendment. On behalf of our millions of members and law-abiding gun owners across the nation, we applaud Rep. Tony Wyde for introducing this common-sense legislation that allows Americans to choose the firearm and magazine that best suits their needs," end quote. Now, these groups recognize the slippery slope we're on. Today it's a magazine ban, tomorrow it's the gun that accepts the magazine. It never ends. This bill puts a stake in the ground that says enough. Now look, we're going to be honest here on this channel. We all know that the Fire Act will have an incredibly tough time getting 60 votes in the Senate. The Democrats and gun control lobbyists are already foaming at the mouth to shut this down. But introducing the bill is still a positive step forward. It signals that the few pro-2A lawmakers that don't mind putting their necks out aren't just sitting back. They're pushing back. And this is part of a larger strategy to build momentum toward federal protections for what should never have been up for debate in the first place: our right to own and carry arms that are in common use across the country. And with cases like Duncan v. Bonta still being fought in the courts over in California about their magazine ban, this legislation puts political pressure right back on the anti-gun states that have been trampling on our rights for far too long. So here's what you need to do. Contact your U.S. representative and your U.S. senators. Remember, you have one representative for your district. You have two senators in your state. Contact all three of those folks. Area code 202-224-3121. That's the switchboard. Let them know you support the Fire Act. Tell them you're done with unconstitutional magazine limits that do nothing to stop crime but make criminals out of law-abiding Americans and put us in harm's way by limiting the amount of ammunition we have in case we need it. Now, we have momentum, folks, but we need to keep it going. The anti-gun machine never sleeps, and neither should we. A big thanks again to our sponsor, Attorneys on Retainer. If you're a gun owner, having real legal protection is no longer optional. They'll be ready to fight for your rights when others won't. That's something I want to stress. They've won cases in New York City when other companies won't even represent people in New York. Link is in the description. Don't forget to use my code to save. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with your friends and fellow patriots. I'll keep bringing you the truth, no compromises and no bullshit. Remember, the duty of a true patriot is to protect his country from his government. Take care.